Welcome back, everyone. The world's richest man, Elon Musk, has spent months trying to rein in the federal government. But tonight he's trying to add running a city to his empire. Residents in a small community are voting to give Elon Musk SpaceX control over the administration of the town and rename it Starbase. In tonight's Prime Focus, our Mireya Villarreal travels to deep South Texas, just miles from the Mexico border, where not everyone is so happy.
SpaceX is shooting for Mars. Elon Musk's high-tech rocket company, SpaceX, now racing to bring humanity closer to being a multi-planetary species.
And we're going to take Doge to Mars.
Back here on Earth, the leader of President Trump's efforts to slash government spending is now hoping his company gets a chance to start a government of their own. This is Starbase. It's where SpaceX researches, launches, and tests rockets, and pretty soon it could be the newest town in America. But this isn't your typical town. It's a company town filled with mostly SpaceX employees. It's less than 2 square miles, and it butts right up to a state nature preserve and Boca Chica Beach along the Gulf Shore.
Our families have been going to Boca Chica Beach for generations. Boca Chica Beach is very precious to this area. People rely on the beach for fishing, swimming.
Last year, a petition was submitted to the state of Texas by SpaceX to create a new town. The new municipality would function as its own city, able to create its own fire department and emergency services, even a school district. A few hundred current residents are now voting to make it official, including Musk himself, who was registered to vote at an address within the proposed town and voted here last November. What was once a small, sleepy beach community on the outskirts of Brownsville, Texas, could be officially known as Starbase.
We follow him during his football season. We go over there.
Renee Medrano's home, with goats and pigs nearby, sits 20 miles from the coast. Boca Chica Beach is in his blood, a place where he came as a kid and then brought his own family once he got older.
You didn't have to pay anything to go to the beach other than just get in your car, get in your truck, round up the neighbors, round up the cousins, round up the aunts and uncles, and let's go have fun. And to see now the way it is, it's just disheartening is what it is. It really is.
SpaceX had its first Starship launch in April 2023, successfully coming off and clearing the launch pad, then losing control of its super heavy booster engines. But the company was laying the groundwork for something much bigger more than a decade ago.
There was a gentleman that came to speak at my wife's school in 2014 that said that there was this idea that there was going to bring a SpaceX to Brownsville, Texas, and supposedly he was going to bring in this monies and all this stuff, but it was going to be a small test site. As long as we could still go to the beach, I guess, they want to run a few tests and then they want to leave, Who would ever think they wanted to go to Mars 10 years later?
We have liftoff.
Since 2014, SpaceX has had 8 launches from Boca Chica with staggered success. And now the company is asking the FAA to grant permits that would allow SpaceX to launch up to 25 times a year.
It's a great novelty, and it's a great thing, I would assume, because you have a lot of visitors that go to the island to see the rocket launches, but then those people leave, and we stay. We see the spaceship blow-ups. We see the environment being torn up around that area. We see Boca Chica Beach. We don't know that place anymore.
So it's undeniable that SpaceX has brought jobs and revenue to a remote part of South Texas that doesn't get a whole lot of attention. But you can see that this place is growing by leaps and bounds. Families are now worried that if it continues to grow, with the beach about 200 yards away, there will be a time where this area right here will become unavailable to them.
Becca Hinojosa leads a local environmental group pushing back against SpaceX.
SpaceX has been disrupting our everyday life down here. People have been turned away from going to the beach, which they've been going there for generations. Rent is going up, and it's all associated with, SpaceX coming into this area and colonizing the region.
Unable to talk with SpaceX leaders, this small group protested during early voting by driving near a polling site with messages painted on their cars.
SpaceX people, it's clear that they're trying to start their own gated community. They're trying to shut local community members out, and that's why, we're gonna drive with these messages on our cars today.
If this area becomes its own municipality, in addition to standing up a slew of services for residents, SpaceX wants control of the nearby beach and roads that lead to the spaceport. Bills proposed in the Texas legislature would give Starbase the power to close beaches and roadways on weekdays.
This bill is not taking the Boca Chica Beach away from the public. All it's doing is, if the people decide on May 3rd that they want to make their own municipality, then they will decide who will be their governing board and they will make the decisions on the closures based on what FAA is requiring.
SpaceX has not responded to a request for comment from ABC News. As SpaceX works on an out-of-this-world mission, there's real concern at the cost of their ambitious goal for those who call this area home.
Elon Musk, a billionaire, should not be allowed to create his own company town and colonize the beach. Beaches are supposed to be public.
You don't know the rules anymore. That is a state park. There always should be access to state park, to Open Beaches Act and everything. At least give us the beach. At least have access to the beach. What's so hard about that? Do your thing. Go to Mars, do your thing. Get your rockets and go. But let us do our thing too.